Hey there, awesome folks. This is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, guys. As you are coming in, go ahead and like the video, comment saying, "Hello, I'm here." Whether you are watching this live or you are coming in on the replay. If you are coming in on the replay, just hit the replay rocks hashtag for me. I borrowed that from one of my business mentors, LaShonda Henry, also known as Sister Sense. Guys, I want to make sure that you have everything you need. Let me know you're hearing me. Drop a one in the comments. Let me know that you are here and you are ready to participate in the discussion. We are talking today about a known subject. Hello, Jay Antoinette. Welcome to the live. We definitely are looking forward to your, participation in the discussion. What we're going to talk about today, of course, is the subject of severance agreements, and unfortunately, with the rise of layoffs happening. It's an unfortunate situation, but it is something we have to face. And if we understand what's going on, then we can prepare. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what severances are. I'm going to do a little bit more of a deep dive once we review this article, and then go from there as far as how these things work, as far as what severances are, how they're beneficial or not so beneficial to whoever receives them from an employer. This article, of course, was written by Tribune News Services. The writer is Vicky Salimi. She's also a fellow career coach and recruiter. All right, so let's dive in. Question. Let's see here. My boss gave me the heads up. I'm getting laid off. I've been expecting it though. What should I know about severance packages? Or what should I know about a severance package? The response: I'm sorry to hear this news, especially during the holidays, but sometimes it's better. Sometimes it is better so you can get into action mode, of course, rather than having it looming. It doesn't make the sting any less, of course not. Again, my condolences, as there is a grieving process to job loss. I've experienced that myself. I can I can definitely attest to the grieving process. Um, of course, like myself, I would always encourage. Oh, Char Willie, welcome to the live, of course. Yes, we want to make sure that you guys greetings, of course. Everybody say hello to Char Willie. Jay Antoinette, say hello to Char Willie, and anyone else that comes in. Drop a one in the comments to make sure you guys let me know that you can hear me clearly. Okay. All right. Of course, like myself, I would always advise someone, don't sign anything on the spot. You may want to speak with an employment attorney to review the paperwork before you sign it. For instance, there may be a non compete clause saying that you can't work for a competitor. Your attorney, let me see here, not complete clause working. Your attorney will probably advise you to have them delete it. That's why it's important to have it reviewed before you agree to anything on the spot. I would completely agree with that. They probably tell you how much money you'll get as part of your package. This differs by company, and it is often formula based on the years of service and their policy. You may get paid out for unused personal time too. Review the HR policy before the meeting so you can ask questions. Try to negotiate your package and perhaps extend the end date. And don't forget about health benefits so you can go on to Cobra if need be. Also, ask who to contact if you have additional questions after the meeting. Those are great suggestions. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Shar, for confirming you can hear me well. Awesome. Those are some of the things, of course, I would advise as well. Then the question asks another question. My boss told me I was going to get a bonus at the end of quarter three. That came and went. Now I've been told in quarter four. It's in it's in writing, so I have that backup. But does that even mean anything? Well, that's a great question. He's on my side. He hasn't gotten his bonus either. What should I do if I don't get it again in a few weeks? uh, response that the article writer is responding, honestly, look for a new job. Uh, you can't worry about that bonus right now. You're about to get laid off from that job. I would advise the same. Look for a new job. Of course, yes, you should talk to your boss, remind him that you're anticipating yada yada yada. Ask when it will be in your paycheck that you're aiming for this year based on what was promised to you. The good thing is that your boss is on your side, so maybe your boss will leave and bring you with them to their new employer. Since we can't count on this, it's maybe and what if, and of course to do what with what's in your control. Start looking for a new job though. I'm not saying you should accept the first offer. Simply start looking. Then when you get an offer, you can calmly and methodically compare the new offer to your current situation, um, and see which is better. It's always good to have options. Open new doors so that in 2024 you won't be in the same position, or if you are with your current company, you can lower bonus expectations and to continue to look for a new job. You're in the driver's seat. Of course, this is Vicky Salimi, that the career expert and former recruiter and author of this article. I would definitely advise the same, a lot of the same things. Let me go ahead and pull that article off. I want to make sure that you guys understand what it is that this particular article is discussing. They talked about briefly some of the things, but I want to delve into this a little bit more because unfortunately in 2024 a lot more people are going to be seeing severance packages. That's if they get a severance package. Layoffs are on the rise, unfortunately, and we want to be prepared if we ever find ourselves in this particular situation as career focused professionals. Whether you're in the market for 5 years or 15 or 20, you want to be prepared. So I want to make sure you guys know what a severance package is and some of the ways it can go. Severance packages, of course, is a collection of benefits, or compensation that an employer provides to an employee upon termination of employment, typically in the case of layoffs or a mutual agreement or other involuntary separations. The contents of a severance package can vary often, including a combination of financial compensations based on the employee's length of service, continuation of certain benefits like health care for a specific period of time, and sometimes services such as career counseling or outplacement services, which is also something that I offer as a career coach. Or job search assistance. Of course, the purpose of severance packages is to help the employee ease the transition for the employee to new employment opportunities and to mitigate the financial impact of job loss. The specifics on severance packages can be influenced by the employee's contract, company policies, and legal requirements in the jurisdiction where employment has occurred. Now, J. Antoinette has a question. What qualifies a terminated employee for a severance package? Um, One situation, of course, the most typical one would be a layoff, J. Antoinette. But in other situations, a company, I've personally seen this where they offered, it was a way for them to terminate an employee and not have that employee have rights to sue, because there are companies that use severance packages in those type of ways because they know they didn't really have a strong reason for termination. Instead of terminating them outright and having the employee sue them for wrongful termination, they offered them some hush money in the form of a severance package. So it's not always in a layoff situation, but it's used in a lot of 80, 70% of the time, they'll use a severance package in a layoff situation. However, in other situations, employers use it for other things, which we're going to get into that in a second. Now, of course, let me go ahead. You guys are talking to each other. I want to make sure, yeah, that you guys have a very concrete understanding of severance package, since it's going to become the talk of the job market fairly soon. Now, of course, we talked about these two things already. When would you normally typically receive a severance package? During layoffs or a mutual agreement, um, things of that nature. Of course, how do they work? What's usually involved? As I talked about, there's some form of compensation, there's some form of benefit, there's some form of there may be, of course, career coaching services or outplacement services that are offered based on the size of the employer if they choose to offer those benefits. Now, there's another question I want to put. So glad I was given my PTO time in the layoff. Yeah, it was a nice surprise. Um, I'm glad you did get that, because there's some people that don't even get that privilege. It's crazy, isn't it? Um, Here's another question I do want to pose to you guys: Are all severance packages the same with each employer? Absolutely not. Every employer has their own thing that they want to offer. Every employer has specifics, and depending on where you are in the company, as far as what what your job title was, if you were in leadership, if you were in management, if you were in a specific department providing a specific service, or depending on where you were, all of them are different, because even if you have a layoff of 50 people and 10 of them were in leadership, and the others were involved, they were hourly employees, fulfilling a specific function for the employee, the leadership severance package is going to be very different from the hourly employees. Even within the same company, it's different. Yeah, they are very different, and they're tailored specifically sometimes to the letters to certain employees for specific reasons, which we're going to delve into in a moment. Now, let's see here. Are severance packages always beneficial to the employee or the employer? Now that depends on what day you ask. A lot of times I will answer this from an HR standpoint. Severance packages outside of the layoffs, if they're offering that to an individual, they are looking to prevent or shield themselves from some form of liability. Here's why I say that. As I told you, in my past experience, I've seen where they've offered severance packages. Oh, it is. I hate to say it to you, darling, but it's a legal way to be shady, J. Antoinette. It sounds shady. I'll give you a prime example. Let's just say I won't. I will protect the names of the innocent and the guilty in this particular story. I'll say that. I'm not gonna give any. I will use fictitious names to tell this interesting story. I have seen, whether I work for the organization or not, it'd be anybody's guess. But I've seen where they have given a severance agreement to a leader that they said they want to terminate, right? Remember, this is an involuntary termination. However, because the leader, outside of this one specific incident, performed exemplary, brought thousands of dollars to the organization, started new programs that was making money for the organization. I don't mean a little bit of money either. Like they started a whole theme day that brought outside money into the organization and brought media attention that benefited the employer. And this leader, the director that they reported to, right after they supposedly terminated the leader, the director took credit for all of the things the leader did. Here is also why attempted to, and I think this leader made the decision not to sign the severance agreement. They attempted to get this leader to sign the severance agreement, because within that severance agreement, which is all the reason why I'm also going to say this next, there were clauses in there. There's a non-compete clause, number one. Number two, if they signed and took what the severance was offering, then they would have no ground to stand on, and they could not sue, the leader could not sue the organization for wrongful termination, for there's a few other employment laws that they know they may breach, or this leader would have a ground to stand on. So instead of forgiving or giving that leader an opportunity to stay with the employer, they made sure they terminated. It was an involuntary termination, and that leader was wise enough not to sign the severance agreement. These are also things because they were not willing to take those clauses out of the severance agreement. Yes, believe it or not, you can negotiate a severance agreement, because there's things in there that is not going to be in your best interest. Let me go a little bit further to say this. As a progressive employee, this is where the career coach, progressive career person, that if you're preparing yourself for a layoff, or you know that it's coming, and these are the things that are happening, right? What can you, as a progressive career person, do to prepare for a layoff, right? One of the first things I would advise you to do, whether it's a layoff or whether it's another involuntary termination situation, if you ever get a severance package from an employer, read through it yourself at least 3 times, and get an employment attorney to review it as well, if you have to hit up your network to do that. Why at least 3 times? There may be clauses and requests in the severance package like this. The leader did. They did not sign it because they did not agree with what was in there, and it was going to restrict them if they decided to take action against the employer. So it said, if there are clauses and requests in the severance agreement you personally, professionally do not agree with, communicate that to the employer why you don't agree with them, and request that the severance package be amended to the terms that you can agree with before you sign it. Keep in mind, of course, as I just said, if there are situations where they do not accept it, they do not accept the amendments that you've put in place, because well, I can't reasonably agree with signing this unless this is taken out or if this is amended, you do have the room to negotiate in that case. If it's something that you can't sign and they're not willing to budge, you do stand a chance of losing out what that severance has to offer. But not all money is good money, folks. Let's be clear. Not all money is good money, because some money that you get out there is hush money. Let's be clear. Some money that you get is hush money. So I will say this. If you're ever in this situation, read the severance agreement at least 3 times, just in case you missed something on the first time or the second time. And make sure that it's something that, if you're going to sign, it is something you can live with and agree with. If it goes against your moral and your ethics, or if it goes against you financially, or it's going to impede you from finding a job with the competitor, because if they have non-compete clauses in those severance agreements, then I would not agree to sign it. Because first of all, you letting me go. I'm on a layoff. You can't control where I go next. I'm not, I'm not going to be tied to your supposed agreement forever. So I would never recommend anybody sign a severance agreement that had non-complete clauses in there. I don't care if it's 6 months. It's still in there. You're legally obligated once you sign. But guys, this is just something I wanted to, like go over with you, because I know layoffs are on the rise and severance agreements may be something that you guys are going to be experiencing in the job market. And I want you to be prepared. And of course, if you guys are dealing with anything like this and you are getting ready to transition from one job to the next, and you definitely need your help with the resume or the cover letter, or interview coaching, things of that nature, you can go to mentorshelley.com/consultations. I'm more than happy to assist you with any of or all of these things to make sure that you are ready to take on your next career venture. And of course, I do have an overcoming layoff course coming down the line. That will be announced as far as the details of that very soon. It's going to be early 2024. I was trying to push it for 2023. However, we got a few days left, and I want to make sure that it's an awesome resource for you guys to be able to use if you do find yourself in a situation where you may be experiencing layoff, or you are looking down the barrel of a severance package. You at least have some idea of how to maneuver that. And of course, guys, if you have suggestions or questions or in regards to your career tools, or if you're dealing with some form of a severance right now and you're not sure, if you have just general questions, you can reach out and go to mentorshelley.com/contact. You can leave me a voicemail or an email message, and I'm more than happy to return your voicemail or email within 24 hours, or you can hit me up at my email at support@mentorshelley.com. Guys, Miss J. Antoinette, I really do appreciate you stopping by and contributing to the conversation. And of course, Miss Char Willie as well. Thank you so much for stopping by and contributing to the conversation of severance packages. And of course, guys, severance packages are a two-way street. It can be beneficial for you as the employee, but it also is very beneficial to the employer. A lot of times those are issued to help the employees transition, but it is also issued to keep the employer out of liability waters. Always know that there's two sides to every story. But guys, this is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally. As layoffs are on the rise, be ready and be willing to negotiate for yourself with these severance packages. All right, guys, take care. You have a good one. Bye.